Hello, 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 my little maniacs. This is your host, the Maniacs Gaming, coming back at you with another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing the first one of these in a minute, where we will be breaking down the Buccaneers Seahawks game. Let's get it. So, this game will be played at 4 o'clock today in Seattle. Let's get right into it. So last week, the Bucs did unfortunately get their first loss of the season to the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles with a final score of 31-25, which the offense tried to take the first half off. So did the defense, but then the second half, the defense looked really good and the offense looked pretty good. It's unfortunate that it came down to a blocked punt that was returned for a touchdown by the Eagles, bad at Baker Mayfield's pick in the end zone, and then Bucky Irvin fumble in our own territory that gave the Eagles their only points the second half. That's what it came down to. We got beat, but I can't blame the defense. The defense played really good in the second half. As far as I'm concerned, the defense really didn't let up too many points because, some of it came off a blocked punt. What's the defense going to do there? And then some of it came off of being backed up in their own territory and then a fake tush push. Not much we could have done there. But we got things to clean up. It's another week. Let's just brush it off and get a win. Whereas last week, the Seahawks beat the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football, final score 23-20, in a game where their defense played really well and their offense played decently well. Can't complain too much about how the Seahawks played last week. And it's definitely going to be another test for the Bucs team that's gotten some close wins, and they just need a game where they can actually beat opponent by more than one score, hopefully, eventually. This game is also going to be a throwback game. The Bucs will be wearing their white creamsicles, where Seattle will be wearing their throwback uniforms, as both these teams came into the league 50 years ago and are celebrating their 50th season. So for injuries, the Bucs lost Mike, they've lost Bucky, they lost Jamel, they've lost Benjamin Morrison, they still don't have Christian Izien, whereas the Seahawks have ruled out Julian Love, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Witherspoon. Yeah, both teams are injured right now, especially on defense. Bucs are obviously a little bit more hurt on offense with no wide receiver one and no wide running back one. So we'll have to see how these injuries play. I think the bigger thing is going to be the injuries that are piling up on both sides of defenses are really what's going to be a big factor here. As for offenses, just in a review, Bucs offense was where last week in the first half, and that's been a consistent theme for them as their offense tends to disappear for a couple games, in a couple quarters. They just disappear and then they come back when they need to win the game. The Bucs had a chance to win last week when they couldn't capitalize, but again, at some point, you're gonna run into these one-score games where you're just not gonna be able to win every time. Run game is gonna be a massive question mark today. Obviously, no Bucky, so that's gonna be a big. What are we gonna do there? So I'm gonna have to see how Rashad does, as well as Sean Tucker, and then the rookie running back that we brought that is active today. We'll have to see how they do. And then for receivers, obviously no Mike, so we're going to have Godwin step up after his first game back last week, getting his feet underneath him, and then Emeka, who's of course been a stud. Let's see how he does in his second game, basically as the wide receiver one, with no Mike. As for the Seahawks, their offense has been doing pretty well this season. They're putting up points left, right, and center, and they're just making it so they're winning. They honestly are a bad game away from being 4-0 on the year. Like, they're a really good team this year, so we're going to have to see how they do. But a big part of their thing is the run game. They've been getting the run game going. I want to see how that run game does against the Tampa Bay defense that's been really good stopping the run this year. And I want to see how their wide receivers will do against this Tampa Bay secondary that is a little bit injured at this time. We don't know who's going to be playing nickel right now and who's going to be on outside corner. As you know, that's usually Jamel Dean and Morrison's rotation, but let's see who's going to be lining up outside next to Zion. As for defense, the defenses, again, for Tampa, they like to disappear, but then they like to play championship level football. It's going to be a big thing with them is just how much their defense is actually going to perform this week, and if their defense is going to show up for the entire game. Their DBs are a little beat up right now. No Izien, no Morrison, no Dean, so we're going to have some of the younger guys step up, especially Jacob Parrish. I'm going to be extremely curious to see how he performs today. And then linebackers, again, we need linebackers outside of Levante to perform. Levante's getting up there. He's slowing down. We need other linebackers to step up and help Levante. And the pass, we need pass rush to get home. That's a big issue. It's been a big issue. But we need the pass rush to get home and make Sam Darnold uncomfortable in the pocket and make him make throws he doesn't want to make. As for the Seahawks, I want to see how this D line goes against the Bucs O line that's still a little banged up on that right side. See how they're going to adjust to that and just see how they're going to pressure Baker. I want to see how their DBs are going to be utilized to cover Emeka, how they're going to cover Godwin, and then how their linebackers are going to help against the tight ends if we're going to utilize them this week, as well as how they're going to stop the run. But overall, the Seahawks defense is performing really well. You know, they've held their I think all their opponents so far under 20 points, so that's going to be a good benchmark for the Bucs offense today. I don't think they have been held under 20 points this year, so it's going to be a really good benchmark for them to see how the Bucs offense does. So question marks obviously for the Bucs is going to be the O line and run game. These go hand in hand because obviously you need a good-ish O line to get a decent run game going. And of course the Bucs run game is going to be struggling today without their number one running back in Bucky. But I've got confidence in Rashad to be able to do well. We'll have to see how he does there. As for DB coverage, again, I'm really concerned about who's going to be playing nickel, who's going to be the outside corner alongside Zion. Those are going to be really big question marks. And then the pass rush is always a question mark because, again, we just need to be able to get home. We need to be able to pressure Sam. We need to be able to get in the backfield and pressure him, as well as read out those RPOs, those play actions, as well as help us try to get K9 down in the backfield. As for the Seahawks, K9, he's facing a Bucs D-line that has not let up 100 rushing yards in a game total at this point. So we're going to see how that goes and see how much of the workload he can get going versus where he's going to be getting out in space through the backfield through passes. And I want to see how the Seahawks O-line does. This O-line's been a little beat up, but they've been performing pretty well. So I want to see how their O-line will hold up against this Bucs defense that gets a little blitz happy when they need to. And I want to see how their DBs will cover Emeka, cover Godwin, cover Sterling Shepard, Ryan Miller. I want to see how their DBs will adjust to the fact that there's no Mike and see how they're going to go against covering the standout rookie and then Godwin, who's returning back from injury. Now for the keys to the game. Buccaneers, they need to feed Emeka, feed Rashad, and keep time of possession. Pretty straightforward. You know, you're going to feed the person that's expected to be your wide receiver one. You're going to feed your running back one for this game, and you want to try to keep time of possession. You want to keep the Seahawks off the field, and you want to just be able to drive down the field and get points on the board. As for the Seahawks, you want to be able to contain these Bucs receivers. You want to make them not be able to get down the field and get them 3 and out. You want to lean on your short game because, again, you want to get those quick passes. You want to get JSN involved. You want to get your slot receivers involved, Cooper Kupp involved, K9 involved. You want to lean more on the short game just to get those easy yards and just keep the ball moving. And then you want to pressure Baker, make him uncomfortable in the pocket, make him force throws he doesn't want to make. Now, players to watch again for the Bucs: Godwin, Rashad, and Emeka. I want to see how much Godwin gets involved this week, where it's his second week back after being injured and missing most of the year so far. I want to see how Rashad does in the back in the RB1 role. See how much we're going to be utilizing him in the run game versus the pass game. And I want to see how Emeka can keep on rolling with arguably who is the rookie of the year favorite at this point for the offensive side. I want to see how he does against this Seahawks secondary that's been doing pretty well the past couple weeks, keeping receivers in check. And then for the Seahawks, I want to see how Darnold does against this blitz-happy defense. I want to see how K9 does against this D-line. And then I want to see how JSN does against Zion or Jacob Parrish, whoever he is lined up against. See how well he can keep them in check and try to make plays. And I want to see how both O-lines will do against the opposing D-line, as well as both wide receiver groups do against the opposing DBs. Again, these are both teams that like to air out the ball. They like to dominate the line of scrimmage. I want to see how they do in those aspects just to try to get down the field. So my content for the week, well, today, technicality, it's very simple. I'm going to be streaming the Bucs Seahawks game at 4, and then Pats Bills for Sunday Night Football tonight. I will be streaming that as well. Hopefully with Dude Sports. We haven't really talked about it, but hopefully it's going to be with them. If not, probably I can get Poncho. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me today. I'm going to get this taken care of so we can get it out on time so that it can be out before the game. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on that noti bell on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Try and hit that by the end of the year. Try and hit 17 hundo before the Buffalo trip. Let's get it, fam. And as always, I will see all you guys later. Stay crazy, fam.